did see him play, which was on Hee Haw. When I was a kid, when the $1 Million Band came on, I nearly crapped in my pants because I was like, holy shit, it's Chet Atkins, right? And of course, he decimated Roy Clark, like just tore him to pieces. And Roy was a great guitar player, but Chet was God, right? And he was doing all those broken chords and like just out of control. But he never moved. He never changed. His demeanor was just like, he's just like, when I met him, I understood, like a lot of people were like, Chet's not the most dynamic guy, right? But he actually was. He was real dry and really funny. But when you met him, when he walked in the room, it was like everybody had taken a Valium, like a happy one, right? He was so calming. You wouldn't think so, knowing who he was and what he could do. When I first met him, I had to play in front of him. And I was like this, right? And we were in performance in a house party. We were at a birthday party, and he was there. And but after I started to play, and he was just sitting right there watching me, like looking at me like this, right? I suddenly just stopped being nervous. It was like some kind of a zone around him was just filled with it. If you're playing the guitar, everything is okay, right? And that's pretty well where I'm at in my life today, with the YouTube channel and all these things. This is important. All these people getting together online and in person and everything else, talking about how this is all done. Because ultimately, we learn more from each other than you actually learn from teachers and techniques and blah, 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 this theory and that theory. You learn by watching somebody else do something and then trying to do it yourself. And in my case, when I'm doing a workshop, I'm showing you these things, but I'm also telling you where they came from, which is how you learn it. You have to learn a certain set of skills, and the skills are hidden for the most part. People who are learning to play, they don't know, that nobody tells them. And that's kind of unfortunate, right? But anyhow, any more questions?
How do you build up your right hands?
Okay, I'm getting to that right now, because the next thing I learned was I got into Doc Watson. So I'm telling you this story so you really understand why it worked out this way for me. So you have to imagine I've been playing Chet Atkins for 8 years. The only other guitar player I actually really heard that blew me away that I thought about learning some of this stuff was Django. But it was a bit beyond me, because things were going by in his playing that were so fast, and I didn't have a good concept of what jazz was. I didn't get it yet because it was too, what's the word? Ambiguous, really, is what it was. You hear them playing the inversions and the chords, and in my mind, listening to Chet, everything was so cut and dried in the bottom end. You knew where the root was all the time. You could hear the bass lines. You could hear the chord changes. Jazz wasn't like that for me. But I could hear Django and go, holy, what is he doing? Then I found out he only had 2 fingers. And I was like, holy shit. And so I backed off of that because it scared the shit out of me, right? So I discovered Doc. Doc came in. And my brothers had his albums. And there was one album, live record, that he played this tune. And I just loved it because the other thing about it is that I had the benefit of growing up. I'm a maritimer. So my other love tandem in with guitar was fiddle music. So I loved Don Messer, and I loved Graham Townsend, and I loved Winston Fitzgerald, and all the Cape Breton fiddle players. Like my father was a Cape Breton fiddle player. So I was so used to hearing fiddle tunes that when I heard Americans play them, I went, well, that's cool. Because it was nothing like us. It didn't sound like our music at all. But I could tell it was a fiddle tune. So I was drawn to it, right? And he played a tune, I just loved this tune. And this is a great example of this. I'm just going to play a couple sides of this, and then I'm going to talk about why it was so important, okay? We're always, no matter what happens during this workshop, we're always going to go back to this idea that, yeah, it's a tune, it's a melody, but how did I get there? what is in this tune as a mechanic, right? That I can carry into any other tune. That's the secret. That's always been the secret, right? Yeah.
Did you have a natural ear because of being around music all the time?
Potentially.
Or did you have to develop that?
I think it can be developed. I teach it. So I'm just going to say this now, and you don't get mad at me, but I have a neurological condition called synesthesia. So I see music every time I hear it. I can see it. It goes by in my vision in shapes and colors. It's a thing that actually happens to mathematicians normally. My wife is a mathematician, and she always says, I never had synesthesia. I wish I could have had it. Like Einstein had synesthesia like mad. That's why he had it on a level where he could see the universe just by thinking about math, right? He could see it right in front of his face. So musical synesthesia is like that. When I play, you might see me zone out where you think I'm staring at the floor. I'm watching the music go by. It's all colors and shapes, and it flows by just like the ticker on the bottom of a news channel. And I have to fight to stop it. If I don't stop it, I'll just get lost, forget where I am and everything. And honestly, I can see mistakes coming before I make them. So that's a bit scary, but I don't know whether it's actually an advantage or not. I often just shut it off. I don't use it as much as I used to when I was a kid. So today, like days, when I'm playing, I might go, I'm just going to zone out, and I'll just watch it go by, right? Other times I'm like, no, I want to be present and watch this happen, like you actually physically make it happen. That's when I always fuck up. When I try to do things is when I suck. So I'm telling you, that's going to be the same for all of you. You got to get to the point where muscle memory and comfort and relax, right? Don't fight it. It's not a beast. It's a beautiful thing with a soul. It's not fighting you. You fight it. It never fights you, right? That's important to remember. So I was a little kid, like 13 years old, and my brothers left for something for a couple of days, and I got locked in this room with a turntable and Doc Watson record. And I wore this thing out just because I had to keep putting it back, put it back, and listen to three notes. And I did it that way unintentionally, teaching myself to make the guitar sound like Doc, right? And I was so used to coaxing the tone out of the guitar to make it sound like Chet. I realized this was a different world, and it was much easier because it's only one thing. It's not your thumb and three fingers. It's one thing. And there's only so many things you can do with it, right? So I immediately noticed that Doc always played right there. That's where the tone was. He was playing just over the edge of the sound hole. Like I'm a kid and analyzing this, right? But this is what all players need to do. They need to pay attention. What am I hearing? Am I hearing him play here? Or am I hearing him play here? You hear the difference in the tone, right? Rice played back here. He played back. All his stuff was just because he had to cut through a whole band and a banjo and whatever, right? Doc was alone except for Merle. So he had the advantage of being able to pull all this tone out of that Gallagher, right? So he would go. Great lick. That's one of the ones, right? It's so brilliant because it's actually a fiddle lick. It's so simple, but it just sets off. It's It's a variation on the theme, right? And it's so simple, but it's so simple you don't know what he's doing at first. That's it. And he lets it tail off, right? So it's really effective. Now here's the lick that changed my whole life. When I heard this, I went, that's not possible.